Hey, everybody. I think we are all met. Let me make sure. Brittany and Ryan, you are here. Hello. 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 Hi, everybody. This is the Demolition Derby from the VO Dojo. I'm Tish Hicks, the Master Sensei, and I'm here with Brittany and Ryan, who are our demo producing partners from Next Level Voice Demos. I speak English and I get paid a lot of money for it. So great to have everybody here. We did this call in February, and it was a great, wonderful success. So I'm really excited that everybody is here, and there's a lot can get in. Let me introduce, or have Brittany and Ryan introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about them and what they do, and then we'll talk about what the Demolition Derby is, how it's going to work, and how we're going to roll today. So, Brittany and Ryan, so glad you are here.
Hi, guys. Can everybody hear us? You give a thumbs up?
Yeah, I see waves. Great.
Okay,
awesome.
Great. So I'm Brittany. This is Ryan. Just kidding. Wouldn't that be? It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome. And like Tish said, we're voiceover demo producers here in LA.
Yep.
A little bit of a background from where we're coming from and why it's applicable for you guys today is my background is as a post-production audio engineer and composer. I worked for a very big post-production studio up in Seattle before we moved to LA, and was there primarily in voice casting and in music licensing. And so my entire job at this studio was culling through miles and miles of demos and miles of auditions and paring them down from the hundreds, sometimes thousands, all the way down to the top 20 or 30 to submit to the client in order to cast from. And so we'll talk more about that stuff later, but that's a little bit about where I'm coming from. And then Brittany.
And I'm an actor and voiceover artist, and I've been doing primarily voiceover acting for the past 6 years now. And as well as produce demos, and I listen to thousands of demos in part of our process. I also am in workshops and meeting with agents, casting directors, other people in the industry. So I know a lot about how that casting process works and what people are listening for and not listening for.
Right. Right now, our powers combined.
Right now. Exactly. Right now, what people want right now, because the industry changes so fast with technology and stuff. I mean, even in the past 5 years, it's so different than it was. So it's so important to be current, which we will hear today. I have a feeling this is what happened last time. So
yeah. Excellent. And and I'll tell you guys a little bit more about what we're doing at the dojo as we come to the end, because I want to jump in. But we're located in Burbank. We work with people everywhere. And okay, so let's get started. So this is the Demolition Derby. And if you think what we're going to do today, we're going to do 3 rounds. So think about a demolition derby, you know, that all the cars start and they're zooming around and there's lots and lots of cars. And then after the first round, some are taken out, some are eliminated, right? So we'll do this, elimination sounds kind of harsh, but we'll do the first round where we're going to use the process that Ryan actually did to get through his day of having to get through 200 auditions. So we're going to do a little sample of different snips, different parts of the demo, and then the 3 of us will either swipe left or swipe right. So we'll say yes, yes or no. And then we'll decide who will go into the callback round, which will be round 2. And then we are going to run as many as we can of the callback rounds through what we're calling the gauntlet, the Demo Listen Derby gauntlet. So I'm going to send, you don't have to look at this right now, stay focused with us, but at the time, I'm going to put a link to a Dropbox folder that will allow you to pull it up on your screen, and then also. So I will show you that you'll have a written thing of the gauntlet. So what we'll be listening for as we listen to the full demos, and then we'll do one or at least one, and hopefully more. Really dive in and go in depth into what we're hearing and why this one works and maybe why this one doesn't work, right? Mm-hmm. So then we'll wrap up with what we call Dojo O's. At the VO Dojo, whenever 2 or more of us are met, we finish with everyone choosing one thing that made them go, oh, or oh, or oh, and distilling it down to its most essential form. I'll review this, but you can be typing that into the chat as we finish, and we'll wrap up. And then if you have to leave at that point, that's cool. And then if you want to stay for questions and answers, we'll do that. We're aiming to be 11:15 or 11:30 at the latest. And anytime you have to roll, this is all recorded so you can catch up on the other side. And also, I'll just put out right now that this experience that we're going to do here together will be like you stepping into the process. Like this is what Ryan would do at the thing. This is what the assistant or the agent at the agency would do. So we'll step into the casting process together, and afterwards, you can sign up for some time with me and with Brittany and Ryan to talk more directly. We'll each be offering 15-minute free slots for you to talk more. So we'll do this part all together, and then everyone will be able to talk with us if you're interested. Okay, so you don't have to feel like, darn,
they didn't get through my stuff.
Never fear. We want to talk with you. We want to hear where you're at and what you got. So, okay. Any questions about that overview?
Let's just dive in. Let's do it, right? I'm ready.
So, Brittany and Ryan, take it away. You're going to put the files up, and we're going to start our first round of the Demo Listen Derby.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so I'll share my screen in just a minute. And then just to give, just to kind of piggyback on what Tish was saying, just for a little more context, is something that Brittany and I always we preach over and over to all of our clients is that your demo never gets listened to in a vacuum. Your demo is always being heard in context of something else, whether that context is what's currently on the radio, what's currently on TV, what's currently in an agent's roster. All of these things are factors of how people are going to relate to your work. And so in this context, and I think you'll all be very surprised, when you start to stack up 30, 40, 50, 100 people in a list, and you start going through one after the other, there are glaring differences that really start to show up. Whereas if you were to listen to it in isolation, you may not notice these things. Issues of quality, issues of performance, issues of a host of things that we're going to get into more detail later on down the road. But this is really the first point of contact for jobs that you are going to be submitting for as voiceover artists. People like me are going to be taking this large pool of information and are going to be whittling it down in order to get it to something manageable that they feel represents them as a agency that they can proudly give to their client who hired them and makes them look as best as they possibly can. And so this is what that process looks like. And so let me share my screen with everybody. Is that it? Well, let's do this one. Let's do that one. Boink. All right. Can everybody see this window here? Everybody good? Just give me a thumbs up if you can see it.
Yeah, I see some thumbs. Okay, cool.
Great. And then let's make sure you can hear what we're doing here. Can you guys hear this? Give me a thumbs up when that flash
Drive the turbocharged SUV that's redesigned.
Okay, great. So here's what we're going to do. So we're going to go through each demo, and you'll start to see a pattern arise really quickly of how we're going to listen through it. And then we're each going to weigh in on whether or not it makes it into the first round or not. And then Brittany and I also have this little compare folder here that we're going to be adding things to that we want to talk about later when we get into more detail.
And we're going to start with commercial and narration stuff because that's kind of the bread and butter, and then we'll move over to animation. So
yeah, and so the commercial and narration stuff is just kind of mixed in here, so we'll just go kind of in order as we go. So here we go.
Drive the turbocharged SUV that's redesigned. My jeans. Wrangler. Ready to hit. Blaster from Hasbro. DirecTV Now has more than...
I say yes. I would want to hear more from
I would
from this artist. Tish?
And I would say no.
You would say no.
And you would say no.
We'll throw into the first round, and we can talk more about.
Yeah, I think if two of us say yes, then it's in.
Perfect.
Very good.
I'm making it up.
All right.
30 years ago, this group of improbable heroes came together across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, over a desolate region, they have hitched, and of the deadly noise, to great places. You're moving so fast.
I'm a no.
I'm a little confused.
I am too.
I'm confused. So let's throw this in the compare folder because there's some great things we can talk about later about why we're confused about that.
What if I told you that peanuts can work for you? While you guys are busy, move. But he's right about one thing.
Get the master back.
Okay.
Seems you want to sleep like a baby. Just took ZQL.
No.
I'm a no.
And I would say yes for exactly that. Like exactly what he's doing would be yes.
For his thing.
For he has the one thing that he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think we can go 2/3. So
We'll throw him in there.
Olay presents the new Regenerous Luminous Collection, wherever they are. So sit back and enjoy the flight. No discomfort. Jour d'Hermès. Sleep and play. Campers. Altazara for Target.
That's yes.
You like her?
Yeah, I like her.
I'd say yes too.
Yeah.
Want a better way to grill? With your packet, they have everything from burgers to tacos. 20 video interface for iPad.
I'm a no on this one.
No.
I'm a no.
Dennis Gessing, welcome to cool, colorful Miss Trail Dust, and give you an unlimited launching point.
I'm a no on this one.
No.
As we approach the end of the tour, we'll be visiting the room where this is one of Francis Bacon's most famous works, as if the subject was being pulled to result in life-threatening situations for you and those you. Please stay on the trail.
Nice. I'm a yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd say no. It seems a little, even though it's narration, it seems a little artificial to me.
I think that last one was from a ride, but we'll throw it in there just so we can talk about it later.
Introducing Fabletics athletic workout wear. Feel the strength of Reuben in a train wreck. Time to walk me to the right to smooth to the touch.
I like her.
That's a yes.
That's a yes.
Is this the same thing? Is this what we just listened to?
Introducing Fabletics.
Yeah.
Same thing.
All right.
My mother finally guilted me the other day into buying a digital camera.
It's the first few seconds.
Down your neck. Just minutes ago, here in Hollister, California, at the San Andreas Brewing Company. Clearly, it must have been the leprechauns at work because...
I'm on the fence.
I'm on the fence too.
Let's talk about it. Let's throw it in the compare folder and talk about it later.
This is the voice of Jay Hofflinger. Would you book free? Call NAPI 46.
No.
No. But this brings up a great point. So I want to talk specifically about that later.
There are no road signs on the south question.
Of course you've embarrassed yourself. Everybody has.
And as always, is rugged. Felt that it for once.
I'm a no.
I'm on the fence about that one.
Yeah, and the first thing made me go, whoa.
Yeah, me too.
So what do we think? Is that, because I'm on the fence.
Yeah, I'd say on the fence.
All right. Well, let's throw it, because this kind of goes with the other demo we just listened to. So we'll come back to that.
The only downside to starting your day with a good heart, I want to, when enjoying the unique and unable to purchase more themselves, not on their abilities, but their.
I'm a no on this one.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
You're a yes.
Interesting. Yeah. It's just a little hot, but I mean, they mixed it a little loud.
Interesting.
Oh, well, hey there, Sarah. Got that pharmacy. Well, you can stop pressing. It would be your place for tire and automotive services. Coverage, no matter where you go. Look, you don't trust your kids with great prices and customer service for 35 years. Route 90.
You're what?
I'd say yes.
You're a yes?
Mm-hmm. He's good at his thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dick's Sporting Goods. For all your Viking Fit Fire Department, live by the participating IHOP restaurants. Hurry in.
I'm a no.
I'm a no.
I'm a no.
Because sometimes your mind camera view. I just don't understand.
Okay.
What is this?
I don't know what that is, but we're going to throw this up here because that brings up a really important thing to talk about.
Obesity. Noun. Just with up to 12 times more. Not live without her. If you would. Popeyes. Her friends on a fun-filled adventure where they saved the.
I'm on the fence.
I'd say yes.
Yeah. Feels a little dated, but I think the voice is good.
You gotta go to the Ross Sweater event.
Starting a movement.
For savings with special bonus.
No.
I'm a no.
I'm a no.
Drive with Lyft to make money for the thing.
Made fresh. Burritos better than. In no time, what you ate is every company has that person. You can call them anytime you want.
There is a world like no other.
I liked that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Tish, what do you think?
I think it's good, although it sounds a little generic. Like it's good, but there's nothing like oh wow.
I agree. So let's say it's a no.
Buying a new car is no small task. With Ford, take the Ford F-150, Motor Trend's 2018 Truck of the Year.
Is this just a thought?
Cool voice. Let's see what this is.
The Harlem Globetrotters will dribble into in a 55-inch flat screen today. Bradley Closer out and experience a night filled with Saturday.
Hey Tish, can we mute everyone who's not?
Somebody's making breakfast. It's probably this person on the phone who's not visual with us.
Hold on. Let me see if I can go through and if let's see. There we go.
So this is a good, because we've run across this now like 4 times where we're on the fence. Well, this guy, whatever. Like there are certain jobs where like you need a specific thing, and like this guy MJ, like he's a very specific call. Like there is one thing, like based on this demo that I hear, like if I need that one thing that he does really well, like he's my first call. But in terms of like a demo, it's a no. But in terms of a voice, like a specific thing that I need as a voice caster, then I would throw him in my Rolodex for a call. But in terms of what we're doing today, for me, this is a no.
Okay. And one thing that I forgot to say at the beginning of this round that and this is really important for all of us to remember. This is not personal. This has nothing to do with each of us as humans. This is just in response to what we're hearing. And in some ways it has to do with us as humans, because do we get a reflection of you as a human? Do I as a human respond to what's on your demo as you as a human? But it's not personal.
Oh, not at all. And it never is. It never is. Exactly. 20 minutes to do their job so that they can go home for the day. And this is the job. This is just the context of what it is. It has nothing to do with anything other than that.
Right. And again, if we don't go into depth about your demo, why we picked it or why we didn't, don't worry. You can always we are happy to talk about it later.
Always.
So let's continue on.
Okay, let's keep on. And Marty, I'm going to send you. Well, you have my email, so email me your file. Marty's a late entry.
Cool.
Continue on.
So hurry and do that, and I'll put it in the Dropbox.
All right, here we go.
And if anybody else who came on late doesn't see their thing up there, do that right now too, because we're getting close. Okay. Great. Back at the ramp.
As someone who's always had sensitive teeth, like a spring meadow, at the Bronx Zoo, it's a great way to raise money.
I like her.
Yeah.
That's a yes for me.
Yeah, I like the voice. Some of the pacing's off, but I really like the voice. Really grabs me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
I like her a lot.
Oh, the same chick.
This is her narration then.
If you're going to Hawaii, get through thick brush, but over the year, together, rather than tear them apart.
All right, so this one's a no, but I like the commercial demo.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And
It's like
again,
a totally different person.
and yeah, so that, yeah.
Let's continue.
For a new investor, the stock market 1881 and 1889 met as delegates to the sugar and carbs. You get more of the small bad particles.
I'm a no on this one.
I'm a no on that one.
Yeah.
What do I use to clean my classroom? Oh, that's easy.
A mixer from KitchenAid.
It's for every woman. I don't know, me?
I'm a no on this one.
I'm a no on this one.
It was a strong opening, but yeah, I'm a no.
Yeah.
Inside you, there's an outside you.
I was like, oh my God.
Dinner by finding your dinner. Sharing pain medications is yours for the taking.
Ooh.
And tomorrow is already here.
I thought that was hysterical. I liked it. It resonated with me.
Yes. Yes.
Did I miss it? Did it go in there? Where did he go?
Did you put it in compare? I think you put it in compare.
Oh no, he just dropped down the list.
That just got, you're all good.
You're in there, dude.
Okay.
And then we did Pat, and then I think here we are.
I hate to fly. Sure, they still in an irresistible sort of way. If for only $29.99.
I'm a no on this one.
I'm a no as well.
Let me make sure I didn't miss Rachel.
What do I use to clean my classroom?
We heard her.
We did hear her. Okay, great.
Down to Steve.
Steve.
Warning, the following 30 seconds may push you out of your comfort zone.
Brown, Diane Shore.
And came back in body bags. Some testing those tasty treats for themselves.
Okay, we're gonna throw this in the compare thing. This is a great thing to talk about later.
It's either, yeah.
Habitat for Humanity restores our community and hope locally and around the world.
So this is just a clip.
So I'm a no. It did not grab me.
I'm a no as well.
Yeah, and it's not a commercial.
This is the best feeling. Frog sleeps as we age. The skin around our eyes. Wow, all your favorites.
I like her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Okay.
With Optimum's new triple play package, you get peanut filling to help. And to celebrate, Jack would like to offer us cookie bits plus caramel. But then I heard about Education Connection.
I like him.
I do like him. It's one of those things where I felt like as a demo, there wasn't a lot of variety, but as like a guy, and it totally caught me because his voice is super trendy right now.
What do you think, Tish?
What do you think, Tish?
Yeah, I'm feeling like that too. Like it's very personable, and then it's also just on the edge of like I can kind of not understand what you're saying, but So I would say yes.
Because then we can talk more when we go down the list.
Yeah, we can talk more about it.
For the stage, you want to make everybody count. Delicious. For me,
I'm a no on that one.
All right.
No for you?
I'm a no.
Tish?
I think I'm a no, and then I've got the last entry. Let me see where Marty's went and how I can get it.
Well, then we can also go through, we still have animation to go through as well. So let's run down those as well.
Yeah, and so let's see here. So our first rounders.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And then a couple of things to touch on there. Very good.
Cool.
All right.
On to animation.
Onward to animation, which is a totally different thing. So here we go.
Good evening, boils and ghouls. 'Tis the season for scares.
the voice actor that can really sink his
Is that the same
teeth into
dude?
Whether your customers are
With a scream mail.
or just give me a call. I'd love to give a voice to your
All right. So I'm a no because I don't know who's who. I don't I heard 3 different people in there, and I'm pretty sure that really deep voice was not coming from.
But maybe it was. It might have been. I was just confused.
I was confused.
I was confused as well.
So I'm going to say no.
The tickets are sold and the show must go on. Now these guys are a little awful. Why didn't you tell me you had a soft like the corners? Which are the gloves, and especially.
Okay, it's not really an animation demo. And
It's
we're
all
gonna
the same voice.
it felt more like a commercial demo to me. So we'll touch on that. But that's a no for me.
No for me.
Tish?
Yeah, I think that's a no for me too.
Very good.
I like
Lay a hand on the prince again, and you want choices. You can walk around school. Ion replies, I'm popular enough. How many of you were listening? Pam's pants keep falling down.
Is that all the same spot? Again, I'm confused. So, and because in a casting situation, I don't have time to be confused. So it's a no for me.
Yeah. And it sounds more about voices than heart to me.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
it all sounded very similar to me.
Frank, where's my remote? Find it. Oh, there it
I've been here half a day. Went right past the barn down there. Sound alive! He has a tablespoon of melted grass-fed. It's really alive!
We'll see how you feel after a night in the slammer.
Don't touch that.
Yeah, I'd want to hear an audition from this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Totally.
Of course not. In fact, Ida says she is inflexible at lunch break.
For the character. That's because Ginger's
No. It's a no for me.
No.
I like the versatility, but the first piece I couldn't understand. Like the impediment kept me like, wait, what? Saying.
Yeah.
So I would probably say yes to hear more. But
okay. Well, we
can throw it in.
We'll talk about it because there's some fundamental animation things we can touch on there.
Oh, what's wrong, little fella? You down in the dump?
Meet Sultan.
Great.
Perhaps I'll allow the citizens of time with our friend.
Yes.
I see on this highly sophisticated high count.
Yes.
He's good. I'd want to hear an audition from him.
For sure.
Okay, great. And
Lots
then
of variety.
let's hear this guy. I've yet to hear a voice. That's a no for me.
yeah,
I did not even hear a voice on there.
I didn't hear a voice either.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
So that's the process. That's the first round thing where when there's not 3 of us, when it's just one person, it goes even
faster.
It goes even faster.
no one to bounce up. Oh, you know what? There was one more commercial from Marty.
I don't see it.
It's still
Is
not.
it in the Dropbox?
I put it in the Dropbox. And let me see.
No, if it's not in there, then we can just get it afterwards and just talk with Marty directly, because I'm cool with that.
Yeah. So we'll make sure that you get listened, that we all listen.
So if you send in your stuff late and we haven't listened to it and it got missed for whatever reason, reach out to us afterwards and we'll make sure to listen through.
It's Marty with an I, Marty McEwen.
Very good. So let's jump into the commercial narration stuff.
I think it's there though. I think it's there.
We'll figure it out. It's not showing up in here.
No, it's right there. It's right there. It's right there. Marty McEwen.
Oh, okay.
Creativity forms at the crossroads of cultures, where ideas collide and give birth to days writing and exotic rhythms of calypso music. But she wasn't.
I'm a no on this one.
I'm a yes.
You're a yes?
I liked her voice.
I like the voice, but don't like. There's other things that I didn't like. I would say no.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a no. So now
we're hearing a baby. If someone,
I think it's the same person on the
646. Your phone.
There we go.
Yeah, if you can mute yourselves, guys. There we go. Got it.
Awesome.
So great. So we still have a lot of ground to cover, and not a lot of time to do it. So let's jump into the commercial narration stuff, and let's just talk a little bit more in depth about a couple of these things. Tish, did you want to introduce a little bit more of the gauntlet stuff before we dive into this?
Yeah, let me, I'll put it up on the screen. We don't need to see these folders, right?
Sure, well, you can unshare.
Well, if I unshare, I can't share audio with you. So I'll just have to steal the screen back.
Everybody, if you scroll up, I put the link to the demo listen gauntlet. It's at 9:15 in the chat. So if you can open that for yourselves, then you'll all have it in front of you, and you'll be able to listen to it whenever you want. But let me. So what we're going to do is choose some of these that made it to the callback round, or the next, or the B. This would be the A pile, right? That's often how a producer will talk about it. The A pile. And let's talk through, what we're going to do is talk through the gauntlet. So these are the things that we're going to be listening for, and there's 3 layers of it. So we're going to be listening for first impressions of your voice. Does it pop? Does it grab me in the first 3 seconds? Does it cut through? Think about all the noise that was just going on from someone not being muted, and does the quality of your voice cut through all that sound and layers of sound that we exist in the world? Does it grab you through that? Is there connection? Does it move me? Is it true? Likability. Do I want to spend more time with you when it's done? The you-ness that came up a couple of times, right? Do I know you when it's done? And does it share what's uniquely you? Right? And then we'll talk about middle impressions. So the production quality. Obviously, Ryan's going to be tuned in to this even more astutely. Sound, music effects. Is your voice first? Your competitive skills. Does it sound like something that I'd hear on the air? Would it be a national thing or a regional thing? Your range. Do I get a good sense of all the facets of what your voice can do? And this doesn't mean that your range has to be high to low. Your range can be from X to Y, but what can you do within X to Y, right? Like, is there contrasts? What is way different? Where are there contrasts in the demo? Versatility. Do you have enough stuff that's different that I can interpolate what you can do in between? So if one spot on your demo is red and one spot on your demo is blue, I can go, I'll bet she can do purple. I'm feeling pretty confident that if I called her in to do purple, or I needed her to do purple in a session, she could do it, right? That's a great way to think about things. And I think versatility also implies directability, although those are not necessarily totally correlated. And then energy. Do you have levels of intimacy and energy that are varied? And then the lasting impression, not the last impression, but the lasting. What is sticking with me, right? So a couple of things that we hear coming up. Is it current? Is it up to date, reflecting the trends and brands? Does it make me laugh? What's the humor in this spot? Does it make me laugh? And does it find you're funny? Right? There is a guy named Andy Greenfield who has been through the dojo. He's a dojo black belt, nth degree, and he has the driest sense of humor that just sneaks up on you. Like he'll say something, and then like 2 seconds later, you'll be like, "Oh my God, that was the funniest thing I've ever heard." And that's just really particularly him. So his demo really captures that. The pacing, do the spots flow at the right rate? And are there different pacings? Is there any surprises? Is there something you weren't expecting? What is the cumulative effect of, wow, that was great. The rhythm, this is really important. Does the experience of spending 60 seconds with you take me on an enjoyable ride? If you think that we want this to be like a roller coaster, and at the end we want to know we're safe and know we have all these various turns, and then at the end we want the reaction be, I want to do that again. Marketability, do I know exactly what I can do with your voice? Mm-hmm. What's the vibe? What is your thing? Like we talked a little bit, like, well, that's that guy's thing. If we need that, that's definitely there. And this is really an important and powerful word in all of our work. Undeniability. How can your demo be just so freaking good that people can't say no to it, right? Is it something that I can't resist? I have to say yes because that was just so freaking good. And it can even be wrong if it's so freaking good. So this is what we all aspire to on all levels, right? And then we touched a little bit on who's listening and why, and demos in different contexts. Is it your agent? Is it an agent that you're interviewing with? Is it an audition to find the right person for this job? Or also, is it? It might be that in the audition process, it becomes between you and someone else for an audition. And then the producer will go back, well, let's listen to their demo and see what else they can support. So, so this is for you to check through your own. So much of the process at the VO Dojo is about explaining why something is, and then giving you the tools to do it yourself. So these are things that you can be. These are things that you can be listening along for. What do you hear? How would you define this? Okay, so that's the gauntlet. We're going to run a few of these through.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great. So then here we go. And so on this pass, we're going to be listening. We're not going to be skipping through. We're going to be listening to longer chunks of these demos.
Drive the turbocharged SUV that's redesigned with more of everything and just the right size to take on the concrete jungle. Experience fun, only better, in the new Volkswagen Tiguan. A handful of Hers jalapeno poppers are the zesty, cheesy curls that just might bite you back. And with that pinch of jalapeno pepper, whatever you do, don't touch your eyes after snacking. I don't do the skinny, straight leg, stretchy jeans thing. I'm comfortable in my skin, and even more comfortable in my jeans. Wrangler, ready to handle anything. In less than 5 minutes, you can open a Capital One 360 checking account without any of the usual minimums and fees.
Okay, so this is a great thing, and this happens all the time. Yeah. Is when you're going through. And you're getting your A-list together, you're going at such a rapid pace that you're just going off of instinct, right? Because just like Tish was saying, context is everything. And you have to remember that people who are engaging with this, with your demos, are embedded in the world. They're in the system. Their ears are tuned to what's current, what's happening in their office, in their competitors' offices, all of these things.
They know everything.
They know everything. And so you can instantly, all of those things that we're like, what's your voice do? This, marketability, impressions, all of these things that Tish just listed out that we're listening for, they come in an instant.
Yeah.
And the way that I like to phrase it is it's a question not of quality, but of resonance. Does it resonate? And so in a case like this, what happened is in the speed of things, it was like, oh, I'd like to hear more from that guy.
Yeah.
And then now getting more from him, I'm like, he's not going to make it to the next round because of, these other things that have shown up in the course of the demo. Like the pacing was very slow for me.
It's all the same.
His voice was very one note. I didn't get a sense of range, or I really still don't even know who he is or what brands he would sell.
It wouldn't be Wrangler.
Um,
Putting together a demo, it's so important. The clients, even though you haven't booked these jobs, which no one expects you to have booked, they need to be jobs that you could book right now. And when I heard the jeans with this specific voice, I know that's nowhere near their branding. So automatically that took me out and turned me off.
Right.
So that is very important as well.
And then in terms of the likability was there. The production quality seemed really garbled on second listen. Like I was like, it seemed garbled. And then the energy all seemed sort of the same.
Yeah.
The energy was sort of kind of bright and sort of a little projected. So that was there. And it was, for me, it was funny-ish. Like there was nothing that made me go like, that's genuine. Like it was kind of funny, but not like, oh, that made me laugh. So yeah. And then,
and there's been a few questions about like, what makes it bad? Like what makes it why, like what's the why behind these things? And the answer to your question, the why is that it always comes back to context, because you have to remember that we are in this day in and day out. Like it is our job to listen and to subconsciously and consciously take in everything, like the commercials that are on the air, what competitors are doing, what our clients are asking of us. All of these things provide this contextual thing that is the filter for whether you get hired or not. And so, for all the reasons that Tish has listed out, I would not put him through to the client based on a second listen. Because it didn't resonate with me on the second listen.
I love that distinction of resonate.
So let's go to the next person here.
What if I told you that peanuts can work for you? While you guys are busy napping, peanuts are delivering 7 grams of protein and 6 essential nutrients right to your mouth. You ever see a peanut take a day off? When you drop a 603 horsepower V8 bi-turbo engine into one...
Okay, so on second listen, I'm a no for this gentleman as well, for a lot of the same reasons for Al's demo. It's very even, one note. There was the pacing was incredibly slow, and just it is the opening of a demo is so vital, because it is an unreasonable expectation that people are going to listen to your demo from start to finish. That is not an expectation you should ever have. Your expectation as a voice talent who's making a demo and is putting this out there is to have somebody listen to exactly what we did, like somewhere in the beginning, somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the end, and that's it. That's what you get. And so it has to be on point from beginning to end, which is why 60 seconds should play in your favor, because you want to make sure that your best stuff is all crammed in there in 60 seconds, and that you can get as much variety in there to keep your listeners engaged. And transitions between spots are really the best way to do that. So like, I have no idea what Andrew's back half of his demo sounds like. He could go into a totally different gear and have something that is really unique and special.
But that it's taken 20 seconds to get to it.
Exactly. So as a demo, there's a game to it, and there's a structure to it within a demo itself, beyond the job that you're casting for. Obviously, you're being considered for jobs that somebody feels you're a good fit for. But in terms of the demo itself as a unit, there is a structure and there is a thought process that goes into the why of why does this spot go into this spot and then transition to this spot? Why is there only one line of this and then a full 15-second thing after that? Like there's a reason that those things need to flow.
Right. And that's sculpting the ride, right?
Right, exactly. And it's to keep the listener engaged and to keep pushing them through. As soon as they're about to push the stop button, it elevates. As soon as they're about to push the stop button, it elevates again, and it goes through this thing. And so for that reason, Andrew would not make it into the next
And
round.
Production is so important. When hearing back this time, hearing that crunch of the chip.
It's my nightmare.
I thought it was a chips commercial, and then it turned into a peanut commercial. And so I became very confused, and it, again, broke me out of it like, oh, this isn't real. And our whole job with the demo is to say, this could be a real commercial that I actually booked. That is it. That's the whole thing. And so as soon as you break that illusion, it's over.
And this is a great point. She got turned off from listening to your voice, Andrew, because she heard chips instead of peanuts. That is what's going to happen. Yeah. So because we're people, you know what I mean? And like things are going to resonate in different ways. And so because it sounded like chips instead of peanuts, you didn't get the job because it was confusing, right? So it's so important that when you're crafting and choosing things that are going to be on your demo, that it's unmistakable what it is. That everything is as crystal clear. Like you should assume that you are, assume that nobody knows you, and like,
because they don't,
and that the slightest thing that could be distracting, you shouldn't include, because it really is that easy. Like she goes, peanuts? Thought it was chips. Next. And it had nothing to do with your voice.
Yeah.
So it's really important.
Yeah. That all being said, the sort of Winnie the Pooh quality is like in the competitive thing for that Winnie the Pooh sort of voice. Like that could be like a voice match thing. So yeah.
I've been told by a lot of people that I sound like Winnie the Pooh.
Jim's doing okay for himself. Jim Cummings doing okay for himself. So once again, we are going. This is really interesting because this process is kind of the opposite of how we usually work at the dojo, except for the part of like, well, guys, this is how it really works. Like we really lay things out. Like this is how it really works. Usually, when we're working, we talk about what's great first, and what is positive and what can be improved, right? But in this context, we're just going, what's not working. So it's a little bit different framework than we usually work on everything here. But this is how we do that while you're coming up and going through the natural progression from I don't know to working pro, because when you get there, there's not places there's not places that you're ready for when someone's just gonna find what's wrong, right? you're ready to step into the ring where this is how it rolls. So good. Can we listen to some women?
Yeah, sure. Let's get down to Emily.
Introducing Fabletics athletic workout wear. Gorgeous colors, athleisure combinations, high-quality, on-trend workout clothing. All this, and all at a price you can afford. This is Yosemite. It's not just a place you see. It's a place you feel. The strength of granite, power of glaciers, persistence of life. Introducing Fabletics athletic workout wear. Gorgeous colors.
That was weird.
It went back to the top?
Yeah, it went back to the top. That was weird. But at that point, I was, for reasons that we've already discussed already, I thought I would not push her through to the next round just because I wanted more from her and I didn't get it. In terms because the opening felt really, her voice grabbed me in terms of vocal quality. And then as we went through to the next spot, the transition was really rough. And then also like the spot itself was kind of a letdown for me. And so I was like, oh, like, she can't deliver what the image that I got in my head from that first spot. That didn't elevate for me through to the second spot.
And go ahead, Brittany.
I
just came back.
She just came back.
I had to go move the car. LA parking.
Yeah, right.
For me, the first spot really grabbed me as well. I thought it was current. That quality of cut through is absolutely in there. Like boom, that just hones in like the ringing of a bell, right? It just cut through. And it seemed very current, like very on trend, like a good young, upbeat, really grounded voice, not energy for energy's sake. And then the transition, the contrast of the contrast of the transition to the second piece caught my ear too. Like, ooh, this is a different part of the ride. But then the pacing was off. The pacing was off on the second part, and then it was like, oh, it was almost, but not quite. So I don't know why we don't have more of that demo, but
yeah, that was weird that it just looped over. So let's go down.
Let's do one more, and then let's go up to the comparison ones because there were some really great things to talk about with that.
Yeah, I agree. And then this way you guys can hear more.
The only downside to starting your day with a good hearty breakfast is making it. That's where we come in. McDonald's breakfast platters are hot and delicious. So hit the snooze bar. We'll take care of breakfast. I love shoes. Listen, I could stop anytime, but why would I want to? When enjoying the unique taste found in Diet Coke at work, you should be careful never to release any inner feelings towards your boss. This would undoubtedly startle your boss and possibly leave you amongst the ranks of the unemployed, thus leaving you in financial ruin and unable to purchase more Diet Coke. Because it's raining outside. Because it's been a whole week since the last time. Just because. There's no single reason to bake. There are a million. Find your inspiration with Nestle Toll House at verybestbaking.com. In a society that teaches girls to judge themselves, not on their abilities, but their looks, it's no wonder that by age 14, girls drop out of sports at 6 times the rate boys do. Donate to the Women's Sports Foundation and keep her in the game.
Okay, so this is for a lot of reasons, this is a great demo, and for a lot of other reasons, there's a lot of room for improvement. But the great thing that Jessie did really well with this demo is that she set a tone for who her brand is right from the get-go, and then delivered on that brand all the way through to the end of the demo.
But there were different energies. Like, it didn't all feel and sound the same.
It wasn't all, like, she set this very bright, energetic, young tone with the McDonald's spot to open, and then she maintained her identity through the entire spot. You know exactly who she is. And as a casting director, I know when I need a young, fresh voice, Jessie's on my list. Yeah. Like, that's it. And that's the goal, right? The goal of this demo is to say, who are you? What are you bringing to the table? And this is not the time, especially in a commercial demo, to be like, here's all of this crazy nonsense and stuff.
In a commercial demo.
In a commercial demo. Yeah. This is a commercial demo like this is exactly what we want. We want to know who you are at your core, and we want to just hear you interacting in different circumstances, in different contexts with different brands. And all of her brands were super on point for her. Yeah. it felt really good.
And it felt very current as well. And with her voice, and I don't know if she's booked these clients or not, but I believe that she's booked Coke, that she's booked McDonald's, and she's done all these things.
Right. It was very believable, and it did the job, like we were talking about earlier, of there was nothing in there to distract, and it was just a very clear presentation of who she is as a voice talent. In terms of room for improvement on this particular demo, is the production value is really wonky. In terms of sound, it sounded really hot, and at some points a little distorted. And so I'm not sure if, Jesse, if you made this yourself or if you had somebody do it for you. But in terms of like that sound is very dated as a production technique. And so it's really important that when you're just as important as your identity as a voiceover artist cuts through and is very clear as a performer, it's equally important that your production value is current and on trend. Because if you sound great, but your production value sounds like it was done 15 years ago, that's another point of distraction and another point of confusion for a voice caster. So I want to make sure that that your stuff sounds current.
The great thing is the bones are there, the voice and the branding, all that's there. So it's almost like production is a little more secondary and it's more forgivable, if that makes sense. Like, because I mean, we listened through the whole thing. We didn't click out of it, and that's huge. And I mean, you're 60 seconds, which is exactly where you want to be.
Exactly where I want to be. I really liked the last spot. I would say move that sooner. I thought that was. I thought that's important. Order is super important to keeping pace and.
Tish is like, yes.
Yeah. So that order is super important. But yes, I thought this as a whole, I thought this was great.
Yeah. And just a couple of other things, Jesse, that the ride was great. There's a little confusion about the young employee sounded really young. So might just age that up to a little bit more millennial, because it sounded like a 9-year-old that was talking about my voice. But so just getting super clear on, and that's for everybody. If you're doing anything like you do kids' voices, take a child development class, because understanding what's going on. So anyway, so that was a little distracting. But the thing that really struck me was how from in the heart and heart-filled each one. Now, heart-filled sounds like a Hallmark card, but from the heart, like the almost PSA one really was like, whoa, here's young person gravitas. And the baking one, I was just like, yeah, so true. And that's the resonance that we're talking about, right? At the dojo, the foundational principle is voiceover is communication. Communication is an exchange of vibrational energy. Boom. That's it. So in terms of that exchange of vibrational energy, it's not just the sound of what does your voice sound like. Did you move me? Did I go like, yeah, let's go make some cookies. Yeah. So that was really great. Marty has a question. How many seconds do you recommend for each different clip?
Totally depends.
This is why working with a demo producer is super important, is because that is an unhelpful frame of mind to consider the issue. The issue is not how long are the clips. The issue is, do they resonate, and what are they missing, and what can we do to solve the problem?
Right, and how are you going to put your quilt together?
Right. So there's no formula, but there are expectations. Does that make sense? Like, there's no formula for the first spot is 10 seconds, and then there's a 2-second little bloop, and then a whatever. Like, it totally depends on you.
Your brand.
And your brand. For example, Brittany's demo, and we'll post a link to our website and stuff, so you guys can hear more demos and poke around and stuff. up there. But Brittany's brand is very fast-talking, energetic. The structure of her demo and the length of her clips reflects that. So they're fast.
And they're so short, and there's a lot. But for someone who, let's say that's not your brand and you're more of a comforting mom or dad type where you talk slow and it's very warm, you're not going to have a bunch of quick talking clips. We need to feel that comfort. So that's going to take a little longer. So it might be more 10, 15 seconds.
Right.
So it really just depends.
So don't think about it
that way.
Don't think about it that way. It's more important for you to think about yourself as an artist and making sure that that is reflected in the presentation of your work,
right,
than to get caught up in how long is whatever.
Sure.
And one more thing, and we'll move on, because we love having this variation of voices. The thing that Ryan was talking about of position of the spot, there's a first layer of creating the scripts that are you. Then there's recording the scripts and gathering all these different possibilities of energies, right? And then there's the putting it together with the sound, the producing it, right? And then there's the final way that it gets pieced together. And just as I was talking about colors before, you know how if you put one color next to another, the lighter color might come forward, and if you put a different color next to the same color, that color that came forward will recede. That happens where you put different spots in the lineup of a demo. Like, it can totally shift everything, and what our experience of the next thing is completely different by having this first. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
So we're going to move on to the ones we want to talk about that bring up different things to compare, just because we're running out of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I want everyone to look at the file names of the files under compare, like this one, and this one, and this one. Looking at the file type, I have no idea what I'm about to listen to. I just know someone's name. So one thing that is so important is to make sure when you are labeling your files, it is very clear what they are. Because I have no idea if this is narration, if it's commercial. I know there's going to be a voice, but yeah. So just assume that whoever's getting these files knows nothing.
Yeah. And again, it all comes back to removing distractions. KM voiceover master 2618, that is a distraction. Jesse commercial, that is easy. I know I'm about to listen to Jesse's commercial demo. Same thing with Pat Kennedy. C, I know what that means, but just write commercial. Don't be clever with it. Just Pat Kennedy commercial demo. Whatever. It's just very clear and simple. And that goes for your demos, that goes for your auditions. Naming is important. Like, if somebody gives you a client name _ Bank of America _ whatever, follow the naming convention, because it's just like the chips thing, right? If you get 100 files and some of them aren't named correctly, you're not even going to get listened to. Just like, I heard chips, not peanuts. Like, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, that broke the illusion for me. Don't let your file name be the downfall of what could otherwise be a really great demo or a really great audition.
So, right. So let's listen to a couple of these. And
you want to listen to Gary's? What you want to listen to?
I think that's the one.
All right, let's listen to Gary here.
My mother finally guilted me the other day into buying a digital camera, but I had no idea what to get. Then I remembered CNET.com, where you find information about every kind of gadget you can imagine.
What you're hearing is the first few seconds of the new Devil's Dragon inverted roller coaster here at Cedar Point. Can you imagine what the rest of the ride is like?
There you are, on the last lonely outpost.
Okay. So this is great, coming off of Jesse's demo, to really compare this with. From what we heard from Jessie, she established a tone with her first spot, and then that tone was consistent in terms of who she was as an artist. With this one, it sounds really old.
And looking at the file, it's 2015.
And looking at the file, it even says 2015. It sounds like 2015. And then I have no idea who Gary is. I have no idea. Like it just felt, and I'm hoping that you guys are sensing this too, is when you stack things up and you really just start, you just throw yourself in the mix with people are out there, like these things, they come just gurgling to the top of like, oh wow, like, mine sounds really great compared to this one, or oh wow, like I'm not where I thought I was, or wow, like that one really communicated her brand excellent. And with Gary's, it's like, wow, like I have no idea who that guy is. And these are all the decisions and this is the context that we're all working from as producers, as casting directors. It's all informing everything that we do. And so because of that, Gary's in the compare box, not in the first round.
And it's also important with this specifically, I don't, the first spot, I have no idea who that client was. I couldn't even hear even though I was listening for the client, I didn't hear the client at all. And that's a problem. Cause when you're, think of a demo as like these are the people who are going to hire me. And so you should hire me because these are the people who are also going to hire me. And if I can't hear, if the client name, which is really important, doesn't stand out, then it makes me think you don't know, you haven't done it.
Yeah. Clients are super important.
Yeah.
And it's really, you don't have to have a client in every single spot.
But if you do.
But I mean, clients are the ones that are hiring you for the job. Yeah. And so obviously they want their brand showcased in your performance.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind, that even though it's your demo, it's not really it's not about you. Does that make sense? Like, because a client, you have to think about it in terms of the business transaction. Like Bank of America, I don't know why it's in my head. Bank of America has hired you to voice their new credit card campaign because they like your vibe and energy to sell their product. It is about them, and they are hiring you for what you bring as an artist. Yeah. So that is how you need to be crafting and thinking about the material that you're including on your demo from jobs that you've actually done, or if you're working with a producer, or however you're getting stuff on there. Like, that's the framework. That's the mindset is, is my voice fitting for these brands? And then in your performance, would the client be happy with that? You know what I mean? Is it competitive? Does it highlight who the client is? Does it highlight what they're about?
Right.
And the other thing that comes to mind with that observation, Ryan, is if you think about that, that's what you're going to be doing for a campaign, right? As the voice of Citibank for 7 years, I've been the voice of Subaru for 7 years. So each time I come to different elements of a campaign, I need to have that through line of am I representing Subaru, right? Or how does my voice fit in with other voices, right? So am I doing that? And then what's the difference between an Outback and a Forester? What's the difference between, so that you're able to maintain that consistency, and then also find the variation? What's the difference between a brand spot and a sales event? Right. So that's the next layer. Once you get your demo, then you get the job. What we want are the big ass campaigns, and your demo shows that you have that capacity to sustain it. Right. That's something else. So cool.
I want to listen to. There's one more I'm looking for in specific. Hold on.
This is the full.
Yeah, this one. Okay. So this is the last one that we're going to listen to in the commercial stuff, and then we'll switch over to animation super quick.
Yeah, and we can take some questions in between as we.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
This is the voice of Jay Hofflinger.
Would you please get ready for some fun?
Get 50 issues of The New Yorker for just $18. Save $107 off the cover price and get this special cartoon collection free. Call now.
And when you buy a cord of seasoned firewood from
So hopefully this is based on all of the things we've talked about. This is glaringly obvious why this demo is not serving James. First of all, the slates like that in the beginning, people don't do that anymore. You just name your file and just name it James.
And they know it's your voice.
Right? And so that practice immediately dates your demo. Unless specifically requested, don't bother with slating anymore. And then also, like, for all the things we've already talked about, like the demo in terms of production quality, in terms of performance, in terms of pace, it just felt, it did not resonate with me in this situation as a casting director. And
it didn't feel real. Like the market trends right now, especially for commercial, is they want real people. There are specifics where they do want announcers and that upper energy, but I did not hear a real person. I don't know what James really sounds like. I'm like, oh, he's putting on voices and putting on an affectation of what he thinks would sell this spot. And I don't know who he is as a person. And so that it just even felt even more dated. And it almost felt, especially in the beginning, and I'm sure this is not true, but it felt like he was making fun. And so that also turned me off because this is a thing that people really train and work really hard to learn about. And I think doing something like that, especially at the beginning of a current demo, for people who do work so hard and hear so many of these things, it's kind of like, ugh, he's not taking it serious.
Right.
So is how I felt.
Yeah. Again, context, right? Yeah. Is even if it's new for you, it's not new for everybody else. And so it's super important that you do what you need to do in order to make sure that your stuff is competitive, whether that's asking for advice,
taking a class,
taking a webinar, whatever that is. It's super important that you're able to recognize and do an honest assessment of where you are to make sure that you're presenting yourself in the best light. Because I'm sure James is a hell of a dude, but like hearing that demo, you're like, oh, he's not taking it seriously. Whatever. Like.
The things that came through for me is like, I like the voice. I think there's a lot of potential there. It just seems like not understanding fully how the game goes. And then I think also this is interesting, being not a millennial, having come up through different trends. How should we say that, right? Being around enough to come up through different trends. Sometimes there's like, what do we think of as what's our external tuner onto, like when we think, well, a commercial, and the trends used to be, if you think about the function of what happens in a trend, the trends years ago was that the trend was 9 out of 10 doctors smoke Camels. You should too. Like an authority will tell you what's best for you. But how do we relate to each other now? Oh, my neighbor said I should go try this. Did you hear about this? Oh, it's great. You're going to love it, right? It's more recommendations from this. So the more we can have that quality to the work that we're doing, that's kind of how the whole advertising world has come.
Right. And for those of you who are auditioning regularly and doing all of that stuff, I mean, you'll notice all of the auditions are like real, conversational, relatable, non-announcer.
You can start quoting them back. They just copy and paste the brief.
So,
and along those lines, just a little quippy way to remember, if you're announcing something, you are telling someone, right? I'm announcing the birth of my baby. I'm announcing that there's a sale. I'm announcing that the cafeteria will be closed at 3:00, right?
Right.
If I'm sharing something, then I'm sharing the birth of my baby, right? I'm sharing that with you. So that's a great way to create that little distinction.
Exactly.
And then the other thing about James is that it felt a little homemade. which, not, if you're an experienced producer, or, if you understand, there's just a lot of levels. Not, if you can do it, great. But I think when we put it in context, right, you can hear the difference.
Yeah, the audio quality was a little crackly, and
but it's good. This is really helpful. Okay. Any before we go on, any questions? Because we've been talking a lot. I know you guys are taking it all in. I can see y'all taking it in. Any questions? You can unmute yourself. We'll just take like a couple minutes to do some questions.
And then we'll do animation real quick.
Yeah, and we'll get some ears on animation stuff, because that's a totally different world and has its own rules, so to speak.
Yeah,
I'm really loving this. I'm wishing I had sent mine in. I didn't think I'd be able to make the session.
Oh, no worries.
Right.
We'll see you later. It's all good.
We're not going anywhere.
Any plans on doing another one of these?
This is the second one we've done this year. It's a big hit. It's really helpful. So
cool. Thanks so much. Next time you'll see me. And you'll hear me. All right. Bye. Gary asked, can you talk about duo dialogue spots in demos? I'm kind of feeling like it's sort of a trend thing. Like when I started back in the day, 20 years ago, having a dialogue spot on your demo was like part of the thing. I feel like, I don't know if it's time. I think trends have changed, that there's not as many. There's still a lot of radio dialogue spots, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
You go ahead.
Okay. Well, think of it this way with how I think of dialogues. You saw how we clicked through at different moments in a demo. If I click through and I suddenly hear a different voice, I'm automatically confused.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to, because as is the case in all that's not the right word. Consuming media, I guess. Everything is getting shorter, right? Everything is getting packed down into its as tight as it can possibly be and still do the job that it needed to do. So whereas, 5 years ago, 10 years ago,
you have a dialogue.
You had room for that. It was not.
It was 90 seconds to 2 minutes.
It was 90 seconds.
It was a different attention span, a different format.
Right, exactly. And so now it's for a commercial demo specifically, at most 60 seconds, at most. Yeah. And so it is so important that 60 seconds is treated
it's you
respectfully. You know what I mean? This is not the time to be clever. It's not the time to really do any of that stuff. It's important. It's just get right down to business and make sure that it is engaging from beginning to end, so that way, no matter how somebody relates to it, whether it's they sit through and listen to the full minute, or if they click through like we did initially, that either way it works for them.
And if you let's say you want to throw in another person, we do that with some of our demos depending on the spot. Have their stuff super short and totally different, like a different sex.
Different sex, different energy.
Not similar to you at all.
Yeah.
And it's like a couple of words. That's it.
Yeah, just totally. I think we did one of the spots we wrote recently was like a mom was like yelling at her son who was playing too many video games. And so that's not him.
Right.
And so it's just there's no confusion. There's no distraction whatsoever.
Yeah. And it's short. Yeah.
It's like line.
Yeah. Like a second. Yeah.
Cool. So should we shift into animation land for a little bit, or is there more questions?
I think so. Are there any other questions? You can unmute yourself. You can type them in.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So one of the things I run into with my demo is that it gets listened to and people like it, and it gets to the agent, and then they say you're too similar to what we already have on your roster. So do you have a recommendation of what I could do to take, no pun intended, to take my demo to the next level, and push through that you already sound like what we have?
Girl, I feel you on that. Yes. It took me a while to find my agent, because they're all like, oh yeah, we have young, and So
Do we want to just we can strategize about it.
Because I have advice for you. So we'll call me later and
let's do it.
Because that's a longer conversation.
And we can actually because it's very personal.
Yes.
So there's no here's the thing.
In general, guys, this goes back to the undeniability, right? And there is something strategic. First of all, you need to do your research and already know if they have 14 girls that sound like you, then
probably not the agent for you.
Probably not the agent for you. Or alternatively, are you competitive, right?
Right.
Because great. I'll tell a quick story that encompasses a lot of what we're talking about. A girl came to me early years of the dojo. She had spent a good amount of money with one of the top producers in town. She's kind of like a raspy rock and roll mom kind of thing. She had her branding down. It was leopard print, hot pink lips, and sort of rock and roll. It was good. It was great, and the demo was really good. She was not ready to support it when she went in the room, which is another whole discussion about what's up with your demo. When are you ready to make a demo? For those of you who are on just listening in the process of stepping into demos, the demo was really good. She had the raw material. She didn't have the chops. She didn't have the mountaineering experience to get to the top of the mountain of a sustained successful career. But she got submitted to DPN, which is one of the top agencies in the country, where they represent E.G. Daily and Tara Strong, like these raspy voice girls that have these massive careers doing that raspy voice, great things. And they're brilliant. So sometimes, if E.G. has a car campaign and Tara has the fast food campaign, then they need someone else who is in that range, but those women aren't available. So you just have to be as freaking good, right? It's one thing to be covered or have them X number of people deep in you, but then how do you fit into their strategy?
Okay.
So that's another way to think about it. And whatever it is, you have to be as good as the people that they're already committed to paying their mortgages.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the agents that you want are thinking.
It's all a business.
Yeah, exactly.
All a business.
Okay, let's hop on to animation.
Woo!
Yeah. So animation, just to kind of reset the listening parameters a little bit, all same rules apply in terms of does your voice cut through? Does it resonate? This and that, whatever.
Production sound.
Production
good.
quality, all of these things, except with an animation versus a commercial demo is all about, the easiest way Brittany and I have found to explain it is a commercial demo is all about you at your core, at your essence, who you are every day. Your animation demo is about your extremes. It's all about what's way over here and what's way over there, what pings off the wall this way, what does all this kind of stuff.
Hello.
Dolores, let's mute your thing. Sorry.
Yes. So with that one caveat of that, we're not listening for you at your essence. We're listening for you in all of these extremes. Let's dive into a couple of our,
as well as know who you are at your base as well. So you can have a character voice that's very similar to you, as well as you're crazy.
Yes.
And your crazy has to be you too. Like you have to be.
You can't be anybody else.
It has. Well, it's the idea. It's not the idea of crazy, or it's just the energy of crazy. It's each character and each sample of a character needs to really have something that they're after. It's not about the voice. It's not about just having variation in your voice. It's about that same connection with you that you infuse into the character.
Yeah.
They need to be believable for sure. It's not like I can just do an imitation of a voice. You have to, when I hear it, I have to see the character and be like, oh my God, they're having a moment. It's got really intense, or whatever the scene is.
Great. So let's listen to Chris's animation demo that made our first round folder here.
Frank, where's my remote? I want to watch my stories.
It's on the table, dear, where it always is. Are you wearing your glasses?
I already looked there. I don't need glasses to find it. Oh, there it is.
Bobby Jenkins, come on down. You're the next contestant on the prize suit.
Right behind this rock. Listen, you can hear it. We find one of the best examples of
It's a tornado. Scared my baby here half the day. Went right past the barn down there. Sounded just like the time. I went down there. That blame Lord on me. And all I got was a gigantic alien creature. Run for your lives. He has a tablespoon of melted grass-fed butter.
Okay. All right. So this one is interesting, and this is a great one to start out with, is because with an animation demo, it's important. It's you don't need to repeat yourself. And so what I heard over and over and over again was like a country western kind of performance voice over and over, just in a different thing. Like sometimes it was older, sometimes it was whatever. And so for a demo, editing is so important. And so it's really important, especially with an animation demo, that you're not constantly repeating yourself over and over and over again. So just pick one country western voice script and then move on to something else. Because especially with animation, if that's your one thing, then just make it 15 seconds of that one thing and call it a day. Don't put a minute of that stuff repeating over and over and over again.
That's going to frustrate the casting director or agent.
Because listening to this, and again, I am like, I've put myself in voice caster mode. This demo makes me angry because I thought it was one thing, and then it ended up just repeating itself over and over and over again. And so I would not even keep it on file. And I know that's like super harsh, but in the business, like these are the types of things, right? I heard chips, not peanuts. He repeated himself and all he does is country voices.
And they're not even crazy different country voices.
Yeah, they're not super crazy. Like the one that stands out to me was just the one that said Frank, the older woman.
It grabbed me, and then I wanted more of that, and then
yeah. Exactly. So if that's I would rather get a demo that's 10 seconds long and just has that than a minute of you doing the same stuff over and over and over.
And for me as well, it felt like it was self-produced, because there was a frog at some point, but I felt like you were doing the frog and you were doing the baby, and it wasn't realistic.
It was a distraction. There were things in there that it was not a clear communication of what's going on.
This idea of having little tastes of everything, that's a really nice image to think of your demo, right? Like putting together a really nice plate of all the different tastes of things that you can do, right? Or you can also think of like having a closet of all the different outfits you could wear, right? This is more that's more for the commercial, but just think about what are all the different tastes, or this is the main dish, and then I'm going to pepper something in there through in general on demos. So yeah, well, let's listen to more because
let's listen to Melissa.
Of course not. In fact, Ida says she isn't flexible at all. Sounded rude. My parents are just taking a break, that's all. It's exactly like a lunch break, only without lunch. Forget about me. You must capture the evil Urlak before he gets away.
Oh! You're confusing Ginger the actress with Ginger the character. That's because Ginger loves nug talk, not Bolin. Introducing KY David. Head to the movies and rush back home.
What do you mean I never get upset? I get upset!
¿Qué?
Watch. Upset, ready? Where am I at?
Porque es el único cafeinado que hay.
Here.
Ponlo en el refrigerador, Caio, por favor.
Right? Shoot.
Okay.
Tish, what did you hear?
And then
Yeah. Go ahead.
can we make sure everybody's muted? Karen.
And Karen just caught on. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I think I got everyone. Well, it was a kind of a similar experience. Like, actually, the first one I liked, but I didn't understand. But it was enough that I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun. And then it just like lost me. Like it didn't. It didn't just lose me because there was some great things in it. There was some good different tones of cartoons, which is something that I think is also really important in animation. In the same way that advertising styles have changed, the tones of tunes have changed as well, right? Where it was like Looney Tunes, what's up, Doc? Right? I thought it was really broad. Everything in cartoons was pretty broad. Now it's like Bob's Burgers. Oh, Dad, what are we doing? This sucks, right? So understand, like there was you have a good sense of that, but within each piece there weren't any turns. In animation, I want to really, first of all, understand what you're after, and then where are the turns? Like within one line, there could be 6, or not 6. That's a lot, but 3 different turns that could happen, and I didn't get any of that, so it lost me.
Yeah,
and I think this is both of these animation demos, because obviously like there's more variation in them. And so when you're clicking through, you hear different variations. So you're like, oh, I want to listen through that thing. Yeah. And now going back and listening through, I think it's very obvious where the work needs to go, and where the focus needs to be in order to really make these competitive.
Right.
But they're both in the ballpark. They're both like bringing stuff that they can use. In my estimation.
It's very for both of these, it's very surface level.
It's very surface level.
And I think it can go deeper. Like the character voices are fine. They just need to be more believable. They felt very surface level. And with Melissa, especially with this first voice, I like the kid voice, but we can't understand it. And with animation, even if you're doing a voice, we have to understand you. Doesn't matter what the voice is, because that's all we have. We don't have visuals. We don't see you talking, so there's no visual cues to know what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
very important.
I think with a little bit of tough love, I think we can do a lot better. I think there's as they are,
it's a good place to start.
As they are, they're good starting points, but they're not competitive. The animation world is so small, and it's so freaking good. Like, so good.
And the reason that the same people get hired over and over again is because people know they will deliver.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, again, it's fantastic that you have gotten, what you've gotten together. But like, to really serve you and to really be honest, it's not good enough, and we need to put in some more work and get it up there to a higher standard.
Yeah.
So
think of it like you have to be better than the guys who are currently working.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, Tish knows. We audition all the time, and it's to break in, you have to be better than the people they already know.
So we have one more that made our first round. Do we want to do that, or do we want to get back to more questions and stuff? Because I've seen some other questions come in.
Let's listen to one more.
All right, let's listen to this one from Captain Michael.
Oh, what's wrong, little fella? You down in the dumps? Well, I got just the cure. Oh, what's that? Why, it's a great big hug.
Can you believe the nerve of that guy? He thought I was a fairy. A fairy! Just look at me. Clearly, I'm a pixie. Big difference here, pal.
Elephants on Parade was a complete charade. I never saw so much as a single truck in all my life.
Turbo controller? Check. Mountain Dew? Check. High-speed
Okay.
internet?
This is great.
Double check.
Okay, great.
I don't need to hear anymore.
so there's a couple things on this. As a performer, this is fan-friggin-tastic. It's really great.
I'd send you an audition.
There's a lot to play with. There's a lot to listen to.
There's good comedy.
There's good comedy. There's good contrast between each different thing.
Yeah.
And then, so that's great, right?
You got the goods, kid.
So that's great. The things to me that stood out that were distractions for me, coming at it from a casting point of view, is the production value was, it felt really off and distracting. Like the music and sound design choices felt wrong or conflicting with some of the performances. And it also felt very like old style in terms of the music choices. So it gave me a bit of confusion about where we were. And because with animation, each spot has to establish its own world and its own set of rules. And if there's any confusion or mismatch about that, then it kind of all falls apart, even though I thought your different voices were great.
Fantastic. I would honestly, if it was just the voices without the production, I would have been fine.
Yeah, if it were me, so to give you super practical advice, Michael, if you're on the call with us, I would take out all the production. I would splice every spot in half to make them shorter sound bites,
and just do
get your demo down to under 60 seconds with no production in it, and you're going to have something that you can actually use to go and get work with.
Yeah. If you're not already.
If you're not already working with it. That would be something that you could really take what you have and just bring it to light, bring it to the front, because your voices are great. Thought your performances felt really connected.
I mean, we were all giggling, and that's huge.
It resonated. It was just these technical things that were just getting in the way.
I'm sorry, Ryan, were you complete?
No, I'm done. Full stop.
Well, one other thing to oh no, what was I going to say? One other thing to note. There is sort of archetypes, right? There are sort of archetypes that you can explore, and you might want to have a little bit of some little bit of the different archetypes on that are like apply to anyone, right? What's your version of this, right? What's your version of this? So you want to explore having that range of which archetypes can you cover, and then also where is the place where you just go balls out, right? That we know that, oh my God, this guy's going to go there, which I think is why on the first one, who was the Frank? Oh, Chris, right? Frank, Frank, where's my cigarettes, right? That was like, whoa, he just put his balls out there. That's great. So finding that balance of what is your version of what everyone could be expected in a bag of animation tricks, and then where do you just part, as Charlie Adler says, part your pantyhose, right? Charlie Adler's amazing animation director, producer, teacher. Work with him when you can. He's brilliant.
Yes.
Crazy. Brilliant. Good. All right. So this is great. You guys have a sense of how this works and how it all fits together. I think, let's figure out what we're doing here. Anything else to complete this this animation section, guys?
Yep, that was all of our first rounders.
Oh, okay. So do we want to do more in depth, or that was that? Yeah.
I figured if there were any questions, we could open the floor again.
Let's do some questions. We're coming up on 11 o'clock, so we should have a good amount of time. Let's take some questions, and if you do have to leave at the top of 11 o'clock, want to reiterate that I'm going to type in the Dojo email here. Actually, I'm going to share my screen. Want to reiterate that hopefully you got a lot out of this, and we'd love to talk with each of you. So get on our calendars, www.thevodojo.com. Just put that in. Ryan just put his email and the demo where you can listen to their demos. Let me grab the VO Dojo website. I'll show you. If you scroll down on the Dojo website, you'll find a place for a voiceover once-over call, free, 15 minutes. We'd love to talk with you more each. And the thing that I want to emphasize is because we have this great working together. If I'm listening to your full thing and go like, yeah, you know what, you are ready to roll. Go make your demo or go revise your demo. I'll be the first one to say, yeah, go just talk directly to Brittany and Ryan. And then the gorgeous thing about how we work at the Dojo of taking you from wherever you are to where you want to be. If Brittany and Ryan listen and go, you know, I think it would really behoove you to work some more, then they'll toss you over. So talk to both of us, but we're all working together for your greater good. Okay. Meanwhile, back at the questions. I think, Cynthia, you had your hand raised earlier, so let's get you first so you're not...
I'm sorry, Tish. Somebody just put a question that a bunch of people were asking about, and I want to make sure we don't forget it. It's just about how to recut your demo. Terry said, if you want to recut your demo with new paid work and previously recorded demos, what's the best way to go about it?
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. I'm redoing all of my demos with Brittany and Ryan.
That is the easiest way to do it, is to get a demo producer. If you are really good at editing and you're an audio engineer, then you could as well. You could do it yourself and just mix and match. But I always, if you're gonna have a competitive demo and you're gonna cut things in and out, I always recommend at least meeting with a demo producer.
Yeah.
It does make a big difference.
Well, here's the thing, right? And this is something that Brittany and I have found incredibly true in our own lives and in our own careers. Because like I mentioned before, I'm also, in addition to producing demos, Brittany is a full-time voiceover artist. So she's out there constantly taking workshops and putting herself out there just like you guys are. Yeah. And I'm a composer. And so I'm constantly putting my music and myself out there for jobs and pitches and stuff. And something that has rung true for both of us over and over and over again is, just ante up, like if you want to play the game and get the help that you need, because
go to the professionals. It
makes a difference. Yeah. If you really want to have the success that you want and you really want to make it worth your time, there are things that you just, you can't learn it on your own and you can't do it by yourself. And there's so many people here that are open and wanting to help you. And like, so why not? Like, why go at it alone? Because it makes a huge difference, and you will progress exponentially faster with help than you will on your own. Because there's just as much good information is out there that you can get on your own. There's also a lot of bad information that will send you down paths that will take you, years to recover from. So I just wanted to make sure that is super important, because that's rung true for Brittany and I as we invest in workshops and classes, and we're training and working with coaches on our own. So it is an important,
Tishes as well.
It's an important part of the process. Like we're all working with coaches. We're all looking for help.
And defining where you want to be in the game, right?
Exactly.
So good, excellent, good.
So that's the easy answer. Ask for help.
And then now we can go to Cynthia. Sorry to butt in.
If you haven't exploded from waiting so long, what you can unmute yourself. And what's your question? You still there?
Hello?
All that build up. Cynthia, are you there? Okay. Okay, Jeremy has a question, and Cynthia, if we catch you, we'll get it back. What's your question, Jeremy? There you are. Well, look, there's your little hand. I'm going to unmute you so we can hear you. Now we're probably opening it. There we go. Okay. We should be able to hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Hi. Is there any way I could, like, about my demo, like, say, like, revise it or something? I mean, when I showed it off to a couple of my friends who are voice actors, they thought it sounded good. I mean, is there something like, I'm sorry, my autism makes me not speak well sometimes.
It's all right, dude. No worries.
I just want better understanding.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah, the easy.
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just going to say that there's no one answer. It's very specific to you, and so it's important that when you're reaching out for advice, that you're going to people who are
hiring.
That are hiring. That are the people that are doing it. You know what I mean? So going to other voiceover artists may not be serving you as going to somebody who's
one level,
right.
And there's another level in perspective.
Right, exactly. So I would encourage you to email us.
We can talk through specifics.
And we can talk through specifics with your, with what we hear and whatnot, and see if we can't give you some actionable things that you can do now to help get it more in tune.
So basically, like better voiceover improvisation and training, something like that.
It never hurts.
It never hurts.
I could totally sign up for that.
Yeah, but it just depends on what your, everybody's situation is different,
right.
Mm-hmm.
And so without talking with you directly in more detail about it, it's hard to offer any real actionable advice for you.
So yeah, shoot us an email.
Yeah.
So shoot us an email and we'll chat more.
Yeah.
Those personal emails right there, like at the below next level voice demos and such.
Yeah.
Yep. You can get to us either way, through the website or through that personal email. Either way, it comes to me.
Especially the next level voice demos. Am I still eligible for that, or am I not?
Of course you're eligible. It's just a website.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for the tips.
Of course.
Jeremy brings up a really, really important, powerful part of all of this, or aspect of all of this. Everything that was said today are our three subjective, experienced, but subjective viewpoints. Someone else might listen to it and go, like, oh my God, this is the most brilliant thing. There's probably some consistency in the, of us understanding what the game is on both sides of the glass, both as performers and people who produce things and people who are training people, right? We have some perspectives on it. But everything that anyone says to you is subjective. One of the elements of the VO Dojo is our working pro workout called the VO Dojo Pro Fight Club, where we bring together top-notch talent. So the criteria is demo, repped, and booking to be a part of that, to play, and the decision makers who hire us. So it's not agents, it's for the most part not casting directors, except for like in the animation world where the casting directors are the decision makers, but it's the decision makers, like the people we work with because we do sessions with them, right? The real cut to the chase. And what we do is basically make the audition process transparent, like we did today. And then we get to hear each other like we did today, and we can calibrate, oh, I heard that, oh wow, that was it, and place ourselves within it. And then we get feedback from that particular subjective point of view from that person in that genre, and then you can keep on calibrating. But the most important thing here, guys, to always understand is that you are in the driver's seat. So you're always open to what people's responses are and take them in. But you are, it's your opinion and what you create out of the information that you get back. That's the most important thing. You are driving this car. You're building the vehicle. You're tuning it up. You're pimping your ride, and you're learning to drive. And then you're getting, one of the things I say is, breaking into this business, you need to be able to get on the freeway going 85 miles an hour with people who've been driving the Autobahn for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do it? Yes, you can. People are doing it every day. Can you do it with a demo that doesn't have wheels? No. Right. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So that's really important. Good.
I saw Jimmy has a question real quick that I can answer about slating. So earlier when I think we were listening to his demo where he had the slate where this is the voice of Jay. And we were talking about how you don't need to do that. And he asked in the thing that contrast with what he's heard from New York casting directors, instructors, casting agents when they're casting. So in this particular instance, we are just talking about demos. Just demos. You do, from what we hear and from what, with our clients in New York and on the West Coast and from being around, you don't need to slate on your demo. For auditions, you do need your name. That is pretty industry standard. And most, if they don't want to slate, they'll be specific about it. But what we were talking about here specifically was demos. And so because you only have 60 seconds to do, to show off what you do, if you spend 15 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds slating and saying, this is the voice of Brittany Cox, and here's what I do, and then go into it, that just eats up your time.
Right, right.
You know?
That's a real thing. That's
So- Yeah, so for auditioning, totally separate.
Oh, there you go.
Absolutely slate.
Got it. Yeah. Audition, slate, demo, not necessary.
Yeah. Excellent. I think we have time for one more. Well, actually,
I see a hand.
Hold on one second, Melissa. Because what I want to do is I want to wrap up things for the top of the hour and get really complete. Just reiterate again. Everybody should know how to contact us. Please, please, please do contact us. We love talking with people. We love getting to hear exactly where you're at. And, you know, in terms of the things that are going on with Brittany and Ryan, they produce all genres of demos.
All over the country.
All over the country. No matter where you are. In terms of what's going on at the dojo, I just wanted to pop up one visual so you can understand that wherever you are on your journey, I'm assuming that because you're here, you're kind of part way, right? You either have a demo that's working for you or have a demo that could be working better for you, or you might be about to make your demo. I just wanted to show you this image of sort of how the dojo is designed. The dojo is a full training center. So if someone came up to you and said, I want to be a professional boxer, what should I do? Or people tell me all the time, I should be a professional boxer, what should I do? You would say, go into full training, right? So think of this as that. We're here to take you from I don't know to working pro. So wherever you are on that journey, even if you are working pro, we can help take you to the next level. Because I'm working pro and I participate in the nth degree, the working pro workouts, right?
I've done it with her. It's great.
And the fight clubs. Yeah. So we start with, you should do voiceover, a weekend intensive or a 6-week intensive. We have a 6-week intensive coming up. And even if you're halfway, if you're already on your journey, it's worthwhile because it will complement and supplement what you already have and take you in the direction that we've been talking about things, and connect you. The Mystery to Mastery program is a full FULL year training program that's divided into 4 belt levels, like a martial arts class, martial arts curriculum. And so if you're on this call about to make your demo, you'd be a green belt. If you're on this call and already have a demo and want to redo it, you'd probably come in at blue belt, right? And then brown belt, we guide it, support, connect you, and accelerate you to in integrating it. How do you get it out in the world, right? So that's Mystery to Mastery. Nth Degree is our Working Pro weekly virtual workout if you're out working and need to sharpen things up, tighten things up. let's talk about that. And that's anywhere from anywhere. And then the Fight Club we do twice a month, once live in LA and once virtually. As I said earlier, the criteria to play is demo rep and booking to play. But anybody can pay, it's a small amount, like $29 to audit the virtual Fight Club. So I highly suggest you take a peek at that. And our next guest is Senior Creative Director from Havas named W.C. Miracle. He's based in Chicago. Most recently, he's been working with Havas. He's actually who started my career. So anyhow, so I just want to give you an overview of here. So when we talk in our 15 minutes, understand that wherever you need support, we have options if you're interested. So if what resonated here. Okay, so if you need to roll, thank you so much for being here. This is really fantastic. Ryan and Brittany, really love everything that you bring to this, and we're here for you. Get that. The rest of the thing will be recorded if you want to catch the other questions. Get on calendars, and you'll be in our mailing list if you're on this. So we'll keep you posted about things that are coming up as well. And if you want to hang out, we'll
answer a couple more questions. We got time for
another like 10, 15 minutes to get a couple more questions in. But if you have to roll, thank you so much for being here. And we will see y'all soon. Okay. Meanwhile, back at the questions.
We didn't forget.
So what's next? Did you find one, Brittany?
Yep. Melissa.
Hi. Thank you for your input on my animation demo. That actually really helped a lot. My question is, I'm also a singer, and I know a lot of animation artists are also singers. So
the answer is yes.
To put the singing on the demo as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is huge in animation right now. Everybody is looking for singers. If you can sing in a character voice, great.
Yeah.
You can sing pretty, great. Put it on there.
Yeah. And if you're a singer, you're so smart, you're so pretty, you're so smart for doing voiceover, because everything that you know as a singer about your voice and about phrasing and about timing and about rhythm is all completely applicable. Anyone who's a singer and should just be doing voiceover. It's how you complete the portfolio of your revenue streams, right? So super, super good. And all together. Yeah.
Keep them short. Keep them short.
Yeah.
So that the pacing, so you're keeping it moving. Right. But yes, you should absolutely include singing in character on your demo.
Yeah, and I'm a trained opera singer, but I never pursued opera, and partially because anyway, I'll tell you that story later. I never pursued opera, but I always kept on training, and for a while there, I was like, why am I spending all these billions of dollars on singing classes with Josh Groban's coach, David Romano? Why am I doing that? And then it was like, oh, because it became the foundation for the sustained successful career that I've had in voiceover. So it's all applicable. So, cool. Good question. What other questions are there? Are there written ones or hands, or just unmute yourself? Here's a question. If you're already a brown belt, can you take it from there? I don't know your secret code name, 3D28MK.
Sorry, it's David.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
Yeah, I mean, we can calibrate. Like Terry Nicole, you heard her great demo. Terry came in as she's killing it in e-learning and wants to expand markets. So she came in as a brown belt and now is doing nth degree. So yeah, if you're out working, we can calibrate what would be a best fit for you.
Okay, so I'm already working, have been for many years on a part-time level. I'm getting ready to dump the full-time gig and do this full-time.
Rock and roll. It's
it.
New world.
And I've signed up for Friday morning at 7:00 your time. So we're going to talk.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll take it from there. Good.
Thank you.
What are the questions? Yeah. What are the questions? Anyone? Nothing? We've answered all the questions.
We solved all the mysteries of the universe in 2 hours.
And yes, you will be getting, Tish is going to be sending out this recording, or there's a link or something.
Yeah, I'm going to send the a link to the recording. So all of this will be there. You should already have the file of the gauntlet, run the gauntlet, which someone astutely said, that becomes a framework for what you want on your demo. So that's what you want. You can check it off if your demo is crossing those, checking off those things. I'm trying to think if there's anything else
Pat said, if you're interested in e-learning, should you have a different demo?
Yes. Because with all demos, guys, with all demos, you have to understand why, going back to why do we listen to demos? Who listens to demos and why? So the more we can serve a person who is the person who is an e-learning producer doesn't really want to hear your commercial demo. They can kind of get that you can do it. But if you can show them, I understand the realm of e-learning, I understand the different energies and possibilities within it. Here's my demonstration of that. I mean, that's what a demo is, right? It's a demonstration, right? So the more you can cut to the chase to be what they need right now, and they can pluck you out and go, let's go with this girl who sent it in first and rocks, right? The better. So just think of it from the perspective of who's on the other side of the glass and how do you serve them.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's also, every demo is very unique to its to the purpose, like Tish was saying. I mean, your e-learning demo is going to still be you, but it has very different structure and rules than a commercial or animation demo. Even a video game demo is very different from an animation demo. Mm-hmm. So again, you could have 30 different demos. What we always like to tell people is start with the commercial, because that'll serve the most areas, and then figure out where you fit. Like, do you do a bunch of voices? Then an animation will serve you. Do you do a lot of corporate? Do you do e-learning? Do you do all these? Kind of figure out where you fit, and then and put the time and the energy and the money into those specific demos, because that's where you're going to be working.
Right.
Yeah. And Don just asked, is an e-learning demo different from a narration demo? One of the things that we talk about in the You Should Do voiceover intensive, which is, again, why it serves everybody at any point to complement and supplement. So we do an overview of all the places that your voices can be making, your voices, crazy, your voice can be making money, and how they relate to each other, how the genres relate. So if you think of the genre of narration, there's lots and lots of things that fall into the genre of narration. So you could have a general narration demo. Like, for instance, as I'm working with Brittany and Ryan, we're going to create a general narration demo. If you needed any of this kind of narration, Tish can deliver, right? And then we're going to also do cut downs of specific genres. If you're looking for e-learning, here's my e-learning stuff, right? So it's sort of depending on what you're focusing on, and you can have a general one and then specifics, right? Specialties, right? Your specialization, yeah. Good. And in terms of how we work at the dojo, we don't. What we do is there's a series of courses that we periodically do, bringing in people who, in addition to me and our team, we bring in people who are working pros experts in each realm. So we'll often do you should do e-learning, sort of mini intensive. So that's how we roll at this point. But all of the genres, when you're working with the dojo at the belt levels, the main thrust of the belt level is that you leave with a great
commercial demo and a great general narration demo. So you understand anything that's put in front of you. You're able to recognize it. You're able to know what it requires and what you bring to that party, if that makes sense. So, so we're always working on everything in some context, so that you're always, because my goal is when you leave here as a black belt, after you complete your brown belt, you, as my kickboxing sensei says, now you're ready. My kickboxing sensei is Benny the Jet Urquidez. He's not just like some guy on the corner. Now you're ready. Now your work begins, right? So what I want is that you are able to confidently, clearly walk into any level of agency across the country, from the highest to the most local, right? And be able to deliver. You have a great meeting. They say, yay, we're going to sign you. Come in tomorrow. They give you 8 pieces of copy, and you're able to go boom, 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 boom. That's my goal in terms of the training. So,
and that's a real, at least in LA, that's a real expectation, is when you go to an agent and they're interested, once you get past that first round of, hey, here's my demo, we like your demo, come and talk, they will give you 8 pieces of copy, and you got to nail it to get signed.
Yeah.
And they don't give you a lot of time to, like, you don't get a week to live with it. You get an hour.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, most of the time that stuff gets dropped on your lap at the time of your session. So when you book the job, you just show up and they hand you the script and they're like, all right, so we really liked your audition and we kind of want this and this vibe over here, and
here's 10 pages.
And let's roll a take. Yeah. And you're off and running.
So, yeah, get ready for the bout in Vegas if that's where you want to be, playing. So this is good. Yeah. So I think there's this question of general and specific. You don't want to get bogged down like, oh my goodness, I can't start unless I have very specific things. Let the demos evolve.
Yeah.
A great way to think about it is that, I talk about this in the intensive. Once you get all the genres and different parts, different things in each of the genres down, you go like, okay, so each of these needs a demo. So in my estimation, and I'm preaching to the choir here, right? Because most of you have been through some form of the demo making process. So I'm preaching to the choir here. But here's the why behind what we're talking about. The skills that you need to understand yourself and be able to deliver a highly competitive commercial demo are the foundations for everything that you need in this business. And then, so if you think of that like getting your MD, like we all just went to medical school, we all have our MDs, right? We know that we have a basic understanding of anatomy. We know, go with my metaphor. And then everything else becomes specializations, right? So you can go to medical school and then become a surgeon or a neurosurgeon or a pediatric neurosurgeon who specializes in prenatal seizures, right? And each of those require building from your base and then having specific things that you're able to do and specific knowledge, right? So you don't go from med school to brain surgery. And nothing in voiceover is brain surgery, for sure. You have to be nimble-minded, but it's not brain surgery. But if you take that metaphor, that's a great way to think about it. And not everyone needs all the demos, right? You find what resonates with you and what you want to do with your life where you live or where you want to live. So, yeah. So take it one step at a time and build from there. Let me put this link here. Nicholas asked if there's, I'll just put the direct link to my calendar. If there's not something that works for you, just call us, call my assistant Alex, and we will find time for you. Okay.
You can call my assistant Brittany.
That is not accurate. I mean, you can call me, but
I'm the assistant.
Works for me.
Yeah.
All right. I'm looking forward to reading through all your Dojo O's, and really looking forward to getting to talk with you all.
Thank you guys so much. This was lovely. I mean, it was great to hear all of you, and all of everything that we said today is from love. It's not because we hate people. No. It's also because we want you to succeed.
Yes.
And this is why we do this. We want you guys to have your best foot forward and to really succeed. And that's where we're coming from, and want to see you guys here.
So there's no time to waste. Life is short. So if we can help, let
us know.
Let's get to it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you all. Thank you, Brittany and Ryan. And we will talk to you all very soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you.